4K, 144Hz, 98% DCI P3 color representation, 1 millisecond response time, HDR 600, FreeSync, self-adjusting brightness based on the light conditions of your room, integrated USB hub. Is there anything this monitor can't do? This is the BenQ Mobiuz EX3210U. Long name for the best monitor I've ever tried, hands down. Both for gaming, content creation and content consumption. So basically for everything. This display is perfect for every condition, every task and every game you will ever want to play. You've already heard a brief resume of the specifications of this monitor, but we will talk about them more deeply in just a minute. But first, let's start with the physical aspects. First of all, the stand. With the included one, you won't have to buy a separate VESA mount because it adjusts in almost every direction. Up and down between 5.5 to 14.5 centimeters of distance from your desk. Left to right with a 15 degrees of swivel to each side. Tilt up and down with 5 degrees to the top and 15 to the bottom. The look of it, especially the colors, silver and orange, may seem a little bit too much for your taste at first, but they are actually gentle and can fit every setup greatly. As for the monitor itself, it has reasonable thin bezels on the sides, aside from the bottom one that hosts double 2 watts speakers and a 5 watts woofer tuned by Trevolo. I mean, they are acceptable for monitor speakers, but still kinda garbage. In this price range, please dedicate at least 100 euros for speakers, like the FreeSync E3.5 Bluetooth I'm using. You can find the video right here. This is a non-copyright song reproduced by my FreeSync E3.5, then we'll compare it to the included speakers.
I see the light inside you, brighter than the skies. Hold on,
Monitor.
let us escape and fly away tonight.
Max volume. %. Back to the speakers. Back to the monitor. These are different profiles for the sound. The monitor is flat and coming from a curved Samsung monitor. It was strange at first, but after a couple of days I got used to it, and you can only see the difference once you look from the very center to the very top of a corner, because your eyes will have to focus again on the display, but in everyday use it's not that annoying. To complete the physical aspects, let's talk about connectivity. You get 4 USB-A ports, all of which are Gen 3.0, 2 HDMI 2.1, and a display port which is 1.4. With HDMI you're stuck with 4K 120 Hz, while with DisplayPort you unlock the full potential of 4K 144 Hz. On the front of the monitor you get an HDRI button to open up the HDR menu, as you can see. And you can browse it using the nipple style button under the screen. Next to it you find a button to select the input, one to mute the included microphone, in the display itself, and the power on off, but you will never use those since the monitor comes with a remote. While I was unboxing it, I thought, well, why would I need a remote to use my monitor? Oh boy, was I ever wrong. I use it even to power on and off the monitor, because it's just easier to use these in comparison with the buttons. Like every kind of button. It's flawlessly the best way to navigate in the rich menus of the display. You can choose between different color profiles, HDR profiles, brightness, contrast, audio options, lighting, yes, because it has a couple of RGB strips on the back, but they're not really that visible, even at night, and a ton of different settings. I'm not going to cover them all, otherwise I would have to talk for 10 minutes about those alone. We can finally talk about the display itself, but there's actually not a lot to say about it. I mean, 10-bit display, which means more than 1 billion colors displayed, paired with the high resolution, a delta E that is less than 2% for the P3 color profile and less than 1% on the Adobe RGB. Means that this thing is as close as reality as you can get nowadays. If you don't know what delta E is, you can think about it as the difference between the real color and the color that you see on the display. If it's between 3 and 2%, it will be very close to reality. If it's less than 2%, your eye won't notice any difference whatsoever with the real color. This is great for everyday use, but even more when you need to edit a photo or a video. You are sure that what you see is really the color that is going to be displayed, which is incredibly useful. Films, as close as reality. Color grading, the best you can get. But I know you're most interested in the gaming aspect of it. If you've got the horsepower to run a game at 4K 144 FPS, it is going to be the smoothest experience you'll ever have. Aside from 240 Hz, I guess. 144 Hz is the sweet spot for non-esport players. If you add the HDR with an average brightness of 300 nits, not the highest, but if you aren't playing with direct light coming to your display, it's more than enough to enjoy the content, and peaks are at 600 nits. You will be able to feel the depth of the image with as much contrast as possible. I have to say that this is the first high-end monitor I try, but I'm generally stunned by it. Compared even with a MacBook Pro 16-inch M1 Max, which is aimed towards creators, so calibrations, color fidelity are essentials. This BenQ will obliterate it with features such as HDR and high refresh rate, and even color accuracy. Many times, high refresh rate is only referred to as a great feature for this for gaming use, but even just by using it daily, you can feel the difference with 60 Hz. I've changed cable because I was using HDMI, then I realized I was stuck with the 120 Hz, so I switched to DisplayPort, and once the settings automatically set it to 60 Hz by default, you have to change it, you feel like everything is choppy, slower, not as responsive as it used to be. Once you click on the 144 Hz, you're back in business. I've said that this is an high-end display, so you can already imagine the price. This BenQ Mobiuz EX3210U usually costs €12.99 on the official site and around a little bit more than 1,300 on Amazon, but it's now on sale on the official BenQ website, linked in the description, for just €9.99. Big price for big performances. But who is this monitor aimed for? For me, basically. I'm a content creator that also games a little bit with my PC. So I take full advantage of the color precision and the high resolution, but I can also enjoy at its full potential the high refresh rate and the HDR. If you're also a person that needs color accuracy, or just enjoys it because it's a better experience overall, but you game as well, this is perfect for you. Just make sure to have an high-end GPU if you want to play with it, because you'll need it. Thank you so much for sticking until the end of this video. Remember to subscribe and activate the notification bell so that you don't miss any future content, and leave a like if you've liked this video, a dislike if you didn't like it, and a comment to let me know if you would buy this monitor. And I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!